Hello aspirants, very good morning to all of you. So friends, welcome back to Anthropology PYQ series. So let's try to decode every question and let's master every concept. So friends, as a part of our Anthropology PYQ series, as of now we have done or we have completed with almost 27 questions. So only one question is missing from Anthropology paper 1. So let's try to cover up that one and let's try to look after and let's try to carve our future strategy. So how we can proceed further. So first, here if you look from the perspective of today, so let's try to see and let's try to check what's today's question of the day. So hope, did you get the question of the day for today? So you know what's the question of the day? So today's question, so it's all about our James Frazer's theory. So look at the question. The question is, it's a very simple aspect. So critically examine James Frazer's theory of evolutionism and elucidate the place of religion in modernity. So this is the question that's there with us for today. So let's try to understand this question and let's try to understand our approach for this particular question in a systematic fashion, right? So now, so most of you might be familiar with the James Frazer. So the question is very straightforward and the question is very direct. So in the very introduction, what you must and should do is that you have to systematically, you have to mention about the James Frazer and his contributions to anthropology. So that's one important aspect that you can do. Then in the body portion of the answer, so you can just systematically highlight about James Frazer's theory of evolutionism, and then in the second part of your body portion you can systematically mention about the place of religion in modernity. So that's one thing. So very good, okay. So then in the conclusion you can just highlight about its significance, right? So that's how. So good. So this is how you can approach to the question. So before we proceed towards the answer concept, so let's try to look at the comments. So yes, very good. So very good morning to all of you once again. So good morning. So good morning, Kota Entertainment, right? So Kota Entertainment, right? So Pragya, very good morning. So all those who have joined through online, so very good morning to all of you and welcome back to our Anthropology PYQ series. So if you have any doubts, so you can just text in the chat box. So friends, first let's try to proceed how we can just see and what are the various important aspects about James Frazer. So my very first question to you all is, because the question is direct, so I want you to just answer more in today's discussion. So first, if you look at James Frazer, so James Frazer belongs to which part of the anthropological school? So can you able to recollect that? Frazer, James Frazer belongs to? He is from which school of anthropological thought? So try to text in the chat box. James Frazer. So James Frazer is one of the important pioneer anthropologists belonging to classical evolutionary school of thought. So evolutionism, so evolutionary school of thought is one important aspect. So amongst that we have two types of schools, so classical evolutionism and neo-evolutionism. So James Frazer is a classical evolutionist. So when we say classical evolutionist, so there are certain premises that the classical evolutionists have done. So can you able to recollect one important premise that the classical evolutionists follow? So how culture evolves? Is it in unilinear fashion or multilinear fashion? What do you say? So according to classical evolutionists, culture always evolves in a unilinear fashion. So that's one important aspect that you should remember. That means culture always moves from one stage to another stage, starting from it is savagery to barbarism to our civilization. So this would be the sequence. So unilinear sequence. So unilinearity is the important basic premise. So being a classical evolutionist, so James Frazer also follows that particular premise. So that's one important aspect. So James Frazer is very important scholar who has proposed a kind of evolutionary sequence, evolutionary schema with respect to the theory of origin of religion. So like that. So let's try to look into his thing, right? So in the very introduction, you can say that James Frazer is a classical evolutionist, and he is very well known for proposing his own theory of evolutionism, of classical evolution, theory of evolutionism, so which deals with the religion. So that's how you can just basically introduce. Then there are certain important books also that were being written by James Frazer. Can you able to recollect some of the books written by James Frazer? Any famous book? So mostly you have answered the question. So cultural evolutional school and classical evolutionism school, unilinear fashion. So very good. So any book that can you able to recollect, the book written by James Frazer? Golden Buff. This is the book that has been written by James Frazer. So in this book, very good. So James Frazer, so he has given his theory of evolutionism in a systematic fashion. So there he tried to portray that usually, so religion evolves from magic, and from religion, science will evolve in the main course of time. So this was the basic theory that James Frazer has been stipulated and proposed. So here, one important thing that we should remember is that, so how he proposed that and what were his assumptions. So that is important aspect. So we should understand, right? So totemism and exogamy. Okay, good. So other important book is totemism and exogamy. So other important books. So you can just recollect, these were the important books. So first one is the Golden Buff. Very good, first thing. And second thing is totemism and exogamy. So this is another book. Then next book is the Psyche's Task. So this is another important book. So like this, he has written some of the important books. So let's try to see his theory of the evolutionism. So he proposed this particular aspect. So in the society, or in the society, if you see, so magic evolves into religion, religion evolves into science. So what were his assumptions and how he proceeded with this? So what he believed is that, so there were three stages. So first stage was, so in the civilization, so in the cultural development, savagery. Then we have barbarism. Then we have civilization. Right? So these were the different stages of evolution of the culture according to unilinear evolutionists. So that is classical evolutionists. So what James Frazer said is that, so during the very early stages of the cultural development, that is during the savagery stage of the development, so man was relying upon some magical practices. So he felt, or he believed, that we can able to control the natural forces by manipulating the nature and natural forces. So thus, so man was relying on some magic. So man relied on magic. So here, when man was relying on magic, so what is magic? It's the practice of controlling the supernatural forces and supernatural powers with the help of some laws. So there, he felt that during this stage, man was erroneously dependent upon two erroneous laws. So what were those two erroneous laws? So what were the two laws of magic? Can you able to recollect? So first law, it is nothing but law of similarity. and second law, it is known as the law of contact. Law of similarity and law of contact. So there were two important laws in the magic. So first law, that is known as law of similarity, and second law, it is known as law of contact. So what James Frazer proposed and postulated is that, so during the savagery state, man was erroneously dependent upon two important laws. So one is the law of similarity and other one is the law of contact. So during this phase, man believed that we can control the natural forces with the help of these kind of laws. So where law of similarity says that a similar like produces like. That means if you try to take up and if you try to prepare a voodoo doll and if you twist the leg of the voodoo doll, so same, this magical practice will be reflected in the person, so whom we can target. So that's how, so law of similarity means like will produce the like. So that's how, so they used to just believe. And then what is this law of contact? So it states that once in contact is ever in contact, always in contact. That means things related to a person, be it could be clothes, be it could be hair, be it could be the nails or all those things. So once they are in contact with a person, so they'll always be in contact. So that's why, so these magicians or magical persons, they used to collect the belongings of a person whom they want to target. So that's where, so these two laws will function. And what he was saying that, so during this stage, so they were relying on the magical practices, but at a point of time, so they realized that means savagery man in savagery phase realized that, so these kind of magical practices are not working at a certain point of time. So this was one thing that astonished them. So there, what has happened? So one thing that we should remember is that, so these laws were not working during some times. So when these laws were not working at some times or during some times, so then man started to think about some of the alternatives. So then he thought, so there was something that we should think over. So then in the next phase, when he moved on to the barbarism state, during the barbarism state, so man's cognitive development has slightly evolved. So with this, what he tried to do, so he tried to just manipulate he tried to take the support of the supernatural power, so that he thought of creating something that is known as the God or some supernatural power. So here he introduced that man in this barbarism state, man relied on religion. Man relied on religion. So where here the magical man, like let's say for example, so shaman, so the witchcraft or sorcerer, witchcraft, so they have been replaced here by the priest. So that's one important change that we have got in the second stage. So when man started relying on the religion, so when he could not able to control the natural forces on his own, so he tried to seek the support of the supernatural power. So for contacting the supernatural power, so he created and he believed that we need to have one intermediary person who can communicate the common man with that of the natural power. So for that, they created the designation of the designated priest as the person who can communicate. So he was the intermediary person who can communicate the wishes of the common man to that with the supernatural power. So thus, so man started relying upon the religion, and this is how he used to control or secure himself from some sort of insecurities. So that's how he felt. So then furthermore, what has happened? So when man moved on to civilization state, so he saw that the education and the technological development, everything has crept into the society. So with this, so knowledge of the man also has been increased. So during this stage, so he believed that what he used to have, be it could be magic or be it could be religion, they were all just simple belief systems. So when he felt that they are all simply belief systems, so in reality they do not exist. So and in that particular point of time, so man shifted his focus. Man shifted focus towards science. So here he tried to just systematically use some of the important practical laws. He started relying on some practical laws. So this was a kind of development during civilization, and civilized man has started believing and has started following the science. So this is how, so James Frazer has given his own conception of the theory of evolution of the culture. So particularly he done some contributions with respect to the evolution of the religion. So this is one important aspect that you should remember. So is that it clear? So any further doubts in this particular aspect? So you should be able to just portray this thing. And then the question, it talks about the critical examination. So when we talk about critical examination, so what are the drawbacks in this particular aspect? So that also you have to mention. So if you look at his conception, so he is saying that in savagery state, magic was there, in barbarism state, religion was there, and in civilization state, science has been evolved. But if you see in reality, so even in the barbarism state also, so both magic and religion was coexisted. That's one thing. So that means it is not independent, rather they can be existed. Even in the civilized state, so at the era of scientific era, so still people follow the religion and people also believe in magic. So this is one important drawback of the James Frazer's theory. So that we have to mention as the first point in the drawbacks. Then second drawback, what's the second drawback? So James Frazer was a kind of classical evolutionist, and he relied and he excessively relied on the secondary data. So he was also a pioneer anthropologist, but he was also a kind of armchair anthropologist. So he also did not had any extensive fieldwork credentials. So that is important thing. So we can mention that as a second drawback. So stating that, so James Frazer was an armchair anthropologist with a little fieldwork experience. So that's one another important drawback. So furthermore, if you see, so whatever the assumptions he took, so it was his assumption. So he assumed that man might have thought like that. So this is another important thing, that so these were purely his assumption and they were not practically proven thing or empirically proved things. So that's another important aspect. So is that clear? So this was the basic things that you will have to keep in mind. So this is how you can address the first part of the question. So critically examine the James Frazer's theory of evolutionism. So it's a straightforward question. So most of you might have read, and there is no implicit concept in this. So you have to just simply project his theory of magic, religion and science. So that's one thing. So then furthermore, so what is the place, elucidate the place of religion in modernity? So this is the next part of the question for us. So what's the place of religion in modernity? So now we are in the era of modernity. So now we can just think about how the science has, religion has been placed at current times. So how you can just discuss it? So you can simply say that religion in contemporary times, it not only serves as a belief system, rather it also serves various other purposes. And its position in the modernity could be very precise and it is very significant. So one thing, so what does the religion do? So it's not. First thing, so you can mention the place of religion. Place of religion in modernity. So you can just text some of the points in the chat box, whatever you feel. So what is the place of religion in modernity, if you can able to recollect some points. So first, we can say, even in the times of modernity, religion continued. Religion continued as belief system. So this is one important aspect that we should mention, isn't it? So if you see in contemporary times, in modern times also, so religion is a simple systematic, it's a belief system. So this is the first point that you can say. So it is continued as a belief system. Then it not only serves as a belief system, rather it also provides identity to a group. So communal identity. So identity to a group is also provided. So there, what is the place? So religion serves as an icon of identity to a group. So communal group, let's say for example, any religious group you can take. So religion serves them an identity. So that's the place. So it became an identity to the group of people. So that's one thing. Then furthermore, so what are the important aspects? So religion. Now, is that the same religion that we had in the earlier times? So think about the ancient times, think about the medieval times, and think about the modern times. So in the modern times, religion's position is not static. Religion has become more dynamic. So it's no more a static entity. So at present, it's not a static entity, rather it became not a static entity, it's a dynamic entity now. What do you mean by dynamic entity? Dynamic entity means the entity or the aspect which is subjected to constant change. That means which changes with the course of time. So that means which can evolve systematically with the progress of the time. So religion has been evolved with the progress of the time. So once we used to have some different practices of religion. Now these practices have been continuously evolved as per the evolution of the time, and they are different as of now. So that's one another thing. So then we are getting like religion acts as a guide. So that's another important thing we can take up. So good. So when you Shri. So she is pitching up one another important point. So religion acts as a guide. So instead we can take it as religion acts as a kind of moral compass. So which can guide the behavior of the humans. So as of now you can take it like that. So religion acts as a moral compass. Moral compass. So which can guide humans in a systematic fashion. So try to just take up. Let's take an example for this. So in a general parlance, if you see, so for example, if you take from Hindu religion, so and if you pick the Bhagavad Gita, so Bhagavad Gita, it not only contains a simple story of the Mahabharata, rather it provides a kind of basic framework of dharma. So we call it as dharma. So there are so many things, like can you able to recollect things like the doctrine of Nishkama Karma? So doctrine of Nishkama Karma. So that's the Krishna's advice to the Arjuna. So can you able to recollect that? So do your duty and do not expect the fruitful results. So let time decides the result. So that's what Krishna has said to Arjuna. So like that, so Bhagavad Gita is full of siddharmic or the righteous principles. So when you follow such kind of things, so obviously it serves as a guide to humans. So That's one another thing. So not only this, like all other things, like be it could be the Bible, be it could be Quran, so all of them are systematically composed of different rules. So religion, it tries to establish social order and it tries to act as a moral compass. So religion acts further as to establish, or it establishes social order in the society. So this is another important aspect. So now, what's the position of religion in modernity? Religion acts as a moral compass. Religion acts as a guide to the group and humans. So that's another important aspect. So furthermore, so what we are getting, so Prajna is saying that, so religion influences cultural and social institutions. So we are talking from the perspective of the place. So we have to just make it as a kind of position. What is the position we have to highlight? We are not talking about the functions. So religion helps in dispute resolution when difference arises. So we are not talking about the functions, we are talking about the position of religion. So let's say belief system, it acts religion as a belief system, it's a position. Religion as an identity is a position. Religion, it's a dynamic entity, it's a position. So that means we are talking about the position of religion in modernity. So be clear with that. So furthermore, so other points. So religion helps in liberation of soul. That is, okay. So there are all functions you are talking about. So you need to just mention about the position. Position means what kind of stance it takes, or what is the nature of the religion in modernity, like that. Now, if you see in earlier times, in the medieval times and in our ancient times, so religion was the pure religionistic thing. So it was orthodoxic behavior. Now, is this orthodoxic kind of culture still prevailing? So it's rarely prevails. So rather, if you see from some of the states like India, so religion has got secularized. So secularization of the religion. So religion got secularized. So that's another important position. So now, religion in modernity. Religion got secularized in modern times. So what do you mean by secularization? Secular ideology. Secular ideology from Indian perspective is that you follow your religion and equally respect others' religion. So that's the basic thing. So when the state upholds all the religions equally, so that's all basically nothing but this secularization, secularized state. So that's how. So now religion has got equal position. So all the religions are equal and no religion is superior, no religion is inferior. So that's one another important thing. So religion's position has got stabilized in the modern times. But nevertheless, if you see, so religion also acts as a force that can, a potential force that can, it also became a source of, it is also source of communal tensions. Source of communal tensions. That means there were so many instances where we saw disharmony, means like a hampering to the harmony of the social harmony, and furthermore it is leading to communal tensions. So we have saw a lot of issues. So that's how in modern times religion has become, the position has shifted to a source of communal tensions. So this is how you can pick some of the important points and you can just explain it with one or two small examples, right? So this is where you have to just complete your body portion of the answer, and then in the conclusion you can simply state that so James Frazer's contributions towards the evolutionism and anthropology was very significant, and he pioneered in potentially giving the theory of evolution of the religion. So James Frazer called the religion as this pseudoscience. So that kind of statements you can use and you can conclude the answer. right? So is that it clear for you? So this is how you can approach to the question. So I hope it is clear to you. So more or less like 4 to 5 points, 5 to 6 points you can mention, and you can explain. So this is one thing. So this is how you should proceed towards this question. So this was the question, and this is how you should proceed. So we have done. So elucidate the place of religion in modernity. So examine the James Frazer's theory of evolutionism. So is that it clear? So good. So then what we are having? So we are getting some questions. So Pragya, can we mention religion as religion is causing caste discrimination in India? So caste and religion both are two different entities. So caste discrimination is different, as well as the religious differences are different. So religion is not causing caste discrimination, rather caste system itself has created the discrimination amongst that. So we should not club both of this, Pragya. Right? So any further doubts? So friends, to just say, so mostly we have done with all the questions, that all 28 questions in paper 1, Anthropology paper 1 from UPSC Civil Services 2025 paper. So furthermore, shall we proceed towards paper 2 of 2025? That's one thing. Or shall we take up the random questions from our important questions, our important concepts from the previous years, and shall we proceed like that? What do you say? Shall we proceed with Anthropology 2025 paper 2 discussion, or shall we proceed with the random important questions from any year? So what do you feel? How do you want to just proceed further? What's your stance? What's your stake? And those who are joined in the live, you can just tell me in the comment section, or those who are just looking or watching the video, you can just text in the comment section. So how do you want to just progress further? So important questions from previous years. We shall proceed with paper 2, and we'll do 2 questions per day. Okay. So we're getting 2 different versions. Okay, so important questions from previous years, and shall proceed with paper 2, and we can do 2 questions per day. Okay. So okay, I'll just look into the aspects. So we'll see how we'll be proceeding, and I'll come up with some best thing that could be useful for you. So I hope that's all for the day from my side. So if there is any further thing, you can text in the chat box, or you can text in the comment section also, or you can communicate to me directly. So friends, let's wind off the discussion for the day. So coverage of all questions are better for us. Okay, coverage of all questions are better for us. Okay, let's see. So that's all for the day from my side. So I'll try to incorporate all your requests and suggestions. So let's see, and let's proceed. Let's see how we can proceed from tomorrow. So friends, let's wind off the class for today. So let's meet tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. sharp. So till then, keep writing your answers and keep revising all the portions that you have done. So thank you all for joining me with the discussion. So thank you all for watching the video also. So thank you.